When you think about shitty jobs in today's day and age, you probably think about something like working at McDonald's or the type of people who have to take the most shit from customers. I'm talking about none other than retail workers. Despite all of this, one should not forget that throughout history there have been shittier jobs, and one of these careers that I'm going to discuss about today may not be the worst job in history, at least according to me. Still, it's probably the shittiest. I mean that literally. I'm talking about Toshers, the sewage scavengers of the Victorian era. A tosher used to be someone who used to scavenge for valuable items in the London sewers, especially during the Victorian era. As some of you might not have expected, life wasn't all Peaky Blinders badassery in vintage London. The working class had exceptionally difficult lives. These toshers used to step down into the abyss filled with human excrement, with the worst smells you can imagine, and an uncountable swarm of man-eating rats, all to find valuable items such as coins, plates, rope, copper, or anything that could have been sold off at a profit. Toshers would step down into the London sewers, usually in pairs of at least 3 men. The leader of the Tosher gang would be the one who was the most experienced of all. There were many dangers in the sewer waiting for them. They had to circumvent crumbling brickwork and earth that often threatened to bury them alive if merely touched. Toshers who nicknamed themselves shoremen could also get lost in the maze-like sewer systems if they wandered too far from the main branches. This was because sewer lines crossed and recrossed in an unrecognizable fashion. Moreover, sometimes torrents of water were allowed to rush through the sewer system when sluices were lifted, and unaware they could be swept away or placed in extreme peril. Imagine drowning in a 14-foot wave of literal shit coming right at you. Now, can you imagine the stink from the sewers of the city and the exact historical period which is known as the Great Stink of 1858? Lovely. But the smell wasn't the only problem that they had to deal with. Another danger that existed was large pockets of noxious fumes. When these fumes or foul air accumulated, it could cause instant death if accidentally inhaled. There were other problems for London sewer hunters. Numerous tales exist about London's rats living there, and supposedly when they were driven into corners, they would fly at the intruder's face and legs in hundreds. First-hand accounts from Toshers claim to have witnessed other Toshers being picked apart by swarms of hungry rats. These rats picked their bones as clean as a washed plate. The same men also claimed wild hogs were as bad as the rats. They inhabited the sewers, feeding on the offal and garbage washed into it continually, and their breeding multiplied exceedingly and have become almost as ferocious as they are numerous. Now you might be wondering, was all of this effort of working in a literal nightmare worth it? Well, the answer is kinda. As amazing as it may sound, Toshers thought of themselves as a step or two above mudlarks, people who scavenged for the Thames for coal, wood, or rope. Because Toshers scavenged for money, silver, or gold, Toshers made a good living, earning about 6 shillings a day, which placed them among the top earners of London's working class during the Victorian era. Before the 1840s, they disappeared in pre-dawn hours, and after the 1840s, they worked at night to avoid detection. That was because it became illegal to enter sewers without express permission. To do their job, London sewer hunters used certain tools of the trade. Besides their easily recognizable dirty canvas trousers, they also used coats with large pockets and old slops for shoes. Another tool of the trade consisted of a 7 or 8 foot long pole with a large iron hoe attached to it. When they used to walk through pools of human excrement, they tested questionable surfaces with their long poles. If at any point a sewer hunter accidentally sunk into a quagmire of shit, he used his handy pole by attaching the hoe to something solid. Then he pulled, climbed, or somehow helped himself get out. One of the best spots to find things in the darkened sewers was near the grates. However, London sewer hunters worried about being detected because after the 1840s, Toshers could be fined large sums or jail if they were caught in the sewers. These people, who were born in poverty in the Victorian era, which in itself was an extremely unhygienic time to be alive in, had a stronger immune system compared to the rest of the general population of working class London because of frequently contracting diseases, especially cholera. But it was most probably the survival of the fittest, where only the toughest ones lived to tell their tale. And all the cringing aside about the dirt, filth, and trash, what truly inspires me, even in such a messed up situation, is the drive and will of man to achieve, to work, a drive and will of man which leads him to take such risks and take on such challenging tasks, all for the sake of providing for themselves and their families. Truly commendable work.